All right, let's talk about AI. Today, we're doing a kind of state of the union for artificial intelligence. We're going to cut through the hype and definitely cut through the fear to break down what's really happening right now, where we're headed in the next year or so, and, what it actually means for you. Okay, let's get into it.
So, we've broken this down into four key parts. We'll kick things off with the absolute fundamentals, then jump into the huge shift happening right now, what we're calling the agentic era. After that, we've got two dedicated playbooks, one for students and anyone looking to switch careers, and another one just for business leaders. So yeah, there's definitely something for everyone.
First up, AI 101. Look, to really get where we're going, we have to be totally clear on where we are right now. Let's just make sure we're all speaking the same language.
Okay, so you hear these terms thrown around all the time, right? The best way to think about them is like a set of Russian nesting dolls. Artificial intelligence, or AI, that's the biggest doll. It's the whole broad idea of making machines smart. Then you open it up, and inside you've got machine learning, which is a specific way of achieving AI by letting systems learn from data. And inside that one, you find the smallest doll, deep learning, which uses these super complex structures called neural networks to do that learning. So see, it's all AI, just different layers of how it's done. For a really long time, AI was mostly predictive. It would chew through a bunch of past data to tell you what was probably going to happen next. Think about your credit card's fraud detection or a company's sales forecast. But over the last few years, we've exploded into the era of generative AI. This kind of AI doesn't just predict, it creates. It makes brand new things, text, images, code. The question it answers has totally shifted from what is likely to happen to what can you create for me? It's a massive change. So when you hear people talking about these huge models with billions of parameters, this is what they're talking about. Parameters are basically the internal knobs that the model tunes while it's being trained. Imagine millions and millions of tiny dials that the AI adjusts over and over and over again until it figures out how to get things right. It's really the raw material of the model's knowledge. And a context window. That's pretty much the model's short-term memory. It's how much information it can keep in its head at any one time while it's interacting with you. If it has a small context window, it might forget what you talked about at the beginning of a long conversation. But a bigger one? That lets it have much more complex, coherent, and useful conversations. So how does a model actually measure that memory? It uses tokens. Think of tokens as the Lego bricks that AI uses to build and understand language. So a simple sentence like, "the cat sat," might be 3 separate tokens. But a more complex word like unbelievable could be broken into 2, un and believable. Every single piece of text you give it gets crunched down into these little units. And finally, the big one you've probably heard of, hallucinations. This is when an AI just makes stuff up. But the tricky part is, it says it with complete confidence, like it's a fact. It's a huge, huge challenge because the AI doesn't know that it's wrong. And figuring out how to solve this is absolutely key to making AI a tool we can actually rely on. Which, well, that brings us perfectly into our next section. Okay, now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about what's happening right now. We are right in the middle of a massive pivot away from the simple chatbots we've been playing with to something way more powerful, autonomous AI agents. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest shift you're going to see in 2025 and 2026. So what's the real difference between an assistant and an actor? Well, a chatbot is basically a passive assistant. It just sits there and waits for you to tell it exactly what to do, step by step. A good analogy is a freelance writer. You have to give them super specific instructions. An AI agent, on the other hand, is an autonomous actor. You just give it a high-level goal and it figures out all the steps to get there by itself. It's not the writer anymore, it's the project manager running the whole show. And this is basically how they pull it off. An agent works in a simple 3-step loop. First, it perceives. It looks at its environment, it understands what you're asking for, and it figures out what information it has. Second, it reasons. It takes that big goal and breaks it down into a smaller, actionable plan. And finally, it acts. It goes out and executes that plan, using tools like browsing the web, writing code, or accessing a database. But wait, how do we stop an agent from just hallucinating its way through a plan? Well, the answer is a technique called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. What this does is connect the AI to a trusted external knowledge base, say your company's internal wiki or product documents. It forces the agent to base its answers on specific, verifiable facts from that source. It's basically like giving the AI an open book exam instead of asking it to just remember stuff. It's a game changer for accuracy. And it gets even cooler. The next big thing isn't just a single agent working alone, but entire teams of them. We're talking about multi-agent systems, where you have specialized AIs that all work together. So you could have a researcher agent that gathers all the latest market data. It then passes its findings to an analyst agent, which creates a report. That report then goes to a coder agent that builds a prototype based on the findings. You see, we're starting to talk about automating entire complex business workflows. So, what on earth does all this mean for your career? Let's talk about it. This next section is for all the students out there and for anyone thinking about making a move into the AI space. The opportunity is absolutely enormous, but you need the right playbook to get there. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're staggering. This isn't just a small trend, it's an explosion. We're looking at a projected 26% growth in AI-related roles. That is just massive. And the value being placed on this kind of talent? The average salaries for roles like an AI engineer are already pushing past $170,000 a year. The demand for people who really understand this stuff is just intense, and it's only going up. So, if you want to get in the door, these are the non-negotiable hard skills companies are desperate for. First, Python. It's the language of AI, period. You have to know it. A solid foundation in math, specifically linear algebra and calculus, is also crucial to really understand what's going on under the hood. Then you need to know your way around the big machine learning frameworks like PyTorch or TensorFlow. And of course, getting good at prompt engineering is a new and vital skill. And finally, because all this stuff runs in the cloud, you need experience with AWS, Azure, or GCP. But here's the thing. The tech skills are not the whole story. Not even close. What really separates the top talent from everyone else is a certain mindset. This field changes, and I mean really changes, every few months. So you have to be obsessed with continuous learning. You have to be adaptable, a razor-sharp problem solver, and you have to be able to explain complex ideas in a simple way. We call this whole package AI fluency, truly getting what AI can do, and just as important, what it can't. And here's a quick look at how those skills map to some of the hottest jobs. A machine learning engineer is, at their core, a software engineer who specializes in actually building and shipping models. A data scientist, on the other hand, leans a bit more into advanced statistics, analyzing data to find insights. And then you have the ML ops engineer, who often comes from a DevOps background and focuses on building and maintaining the infrastructure that lets the whole AI lifecycle run smoothly. Okay, time to switch gears. For all the executives and business leaders tuning in, your challenge is different. It's not just about understanding the tech. It's about crafting a strategy, getting a return on your investment, and critically managing the risk. And this is the paradox that so many leaders are facing right now. AI adoption is through the roof. Almost 90% of companies are using it in some way. But getting a real, meaningful return on investment, that's a whole other story. Going from a cool little pilot project to an enterprise-wide system is incredibly hard. And honestly, it can often take 2, 3, even 4 years to see that significant ROI. To actually win, you have to solve the talent puzzle. And you've really got 4 main levers you can pull. You can build talent from within by upskilling your current teams. You can buy it by hiring expensive experts from the outside. You can go with a bot strategy, using these new AI agents to automate tasks. Or you can borrow the expertise you need by partnering with specialized firms for specific projects. The winning strategy, more often than not, is a smart mix of all 4. And as you roll this technology out, governance becomes absolutely critical. You simply cannot just let this stuff run wild. There are 2 really important frameworks that leaders need to know about. Think of ISO 42001 as your operational playbook. It's the how you manage your AI systems day to day. Then there's the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. That's your strategic guide. It helps you figure out the what and the why of potential risks long before they become real problems. And make no mistake, the stakes here could not be higher. This quote from a recent study says it all. If AI is left unchecked, it can take the biases that already exist in our society and make them even worse. It can undermine fairness, destroy transparency, and completely erode the public's trust in your company. Good governance isn't just a box-ticking exercise for compliance, it's about earning and keeping trust. And that really brings us to our final thought today. The agentic era of AI isn't some far-off future. It is here, right now. The only real question left is what role you're going to play. For the students and engineers out there, are you going to be the one to build these incredible new systems? And for the executives, are you going to be the one to lead your organization through this transformation responsibly? Thanks for watching.